ones join that you'll be able to see. They'll start populating.
Okay.
Welcome to, and I just put this up before. Hey, Ray V1. Hey, A77. See, they're popping in for Travel Scope. Travel Tuesday on Travel Scope. Travel Tuesday. Sorry I'm a little late, people. Hello, Ray V1. Thank you. Okay, this is going to be a lot of fun today. I'm good. I wasn't sure about the light behind me, but it's looking great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sorry we're a little late, but I still hope that you join me for a lunch. And if you're on the East Coast, have a little biscuit or croissant with me in the morning. I don't know why I'm doing that accent, but I'm so excited because today we get to get inside the brain, hear the tales from a real life flight attendant. So we're just going to hop in and join in 10 minutes. So Scoot, you got to get close. We got to get close. This is Tiff. Hi, Ilan. Yeah, so we could give them a shout out when they show up. So this is Tiff, and she has been a flight attendant for about 15 years.
That's correct.
So that means she started when she was 2 years old.
Of course.
But yeah, how old do you have to be a flight attendant?
At least 18 for most airlines.
Okay, you have to speak loud because I don't, unless we get really close. We want to get really close. Then maybe then. Okay, so you have to be, for most carriers, you have to be at least 18 years old.
Yes.
Hey, Bob, the Builder, 1980. Thanks for joining. So we're going to have a lot of fun today because we're going to get some cool tales that we don't usually have access to. Like, I'm sure when you guys take flights, you want to ask the flight attendants and the pilots questions, but we got to scoot on out, right? So we'll be able to do that. No, we're not going to make out. What kind of crazy question is that? Okay, so, okay, life, welcome. Hi, Tanique, 1974. Okay, so you started about 15 years ago. Why?
I was going through a lot of transition. I had gone through a divorce, and I wanted more change when it came to the direction I was going in, the city I was living in, and the field. I wanted to try something new. And I considered being a flight attendant right out of high school. And I want to say maybe I even applied, but I didn't get a reply at that time. I didn't have any real job experience. So went on with life. And from there, tried a variety of different careers. Enjoyed them. Collections, customer service, receptionist, radio. What other?
And she has a radio voice on now. I'm telling her to like project. Like she projects a little bit. She has her smooth talk radio voice on right now. Okay, so it was a life change, and then you got to travel and be in the air. So okay, so I wanted to talk about some fun stuff with you because I guess a lot of you guys who travel, you guys probably see this. So what have been some of the craziest requests? Hey, Z Ramirez.
I would have to say for me, early on, I started with a international mainline carrier. However, when I transferred to low-cost carriers after our economy crashed and a lot of the major airlines were laying off and furloughing, I still wanted to work in the industry. And so all of the low-cost carriers were thriving and surviving and hiring and growing. So I got on with one of those, and at that time, I'm trying to think, was that 01, early 02? I found that it was quite strange to get requests for champagne on a low-cost carrier.
So somebody asked for champagne. Were they even in first class or business?
They would be in business class, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because low-cost carriers don't have first class. They have business class.
It's a great business class, very affordable. However, champagne on a low-cost carrier is not going to be typical. So it would always catch me off guard, like...
And what do you say to them?
I would offer, because my customer service skills are so wonderful, would you like a mimosa? And would you like to try it the way I make it? Since champagne is not on the menu right now, but I can bring you something that you would not know the difference. And that's what I usually would do. By the way, tip, ginger ale, OJ, vodka.
Okay, so that's what you can request that on the airplane.
Yes.
You bring up a point of kind of like the customer service skills. A lot of people don't realize what your primary job function is.
That's
We'll
true.
talk about, I'm going to be shooting some other, like a flight attendant series for the Daily Affair after this, but we can cover this a little bit now. So talk about what your primary, because a lot of people you get, like, especially it's later and I don't know, like there's something about American travelers, but they think that you are basically waitresses and waiters in the sky, but your primary function is...
There's no airline that would ever pay anybody to only serve drinks and pass out napkins and pretzels or peanuts. We are paid because we are forced to be there by the government for the airline based on the amount of seats on that particular aircraft. The amount of seats dictates how many flight attendants must be present, and our primary purpose is for safety. Safety in an emergency evacuation, safety if your grandpa or your uncle or your auntie has a heart attack, safety if someone passes out because of diabetic shock or coma, things of this nature.
You bring up like emergency, so I've had to have, because I travel a lot, and some, I think this summer I've already taken like 15 trips in like 3 months.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
And I'm not a flight attendant.
Right.
But I'm a professional traveler. Mm-hmm. And so the more you fly, the more the odds for having an emergency landing. And it's kind of weird. And you even have to have an emergency landing if somebody is having heart trouble. Sometimes you'll hear somebody shout out, "Is there a doctor on board?" But they still have to land, to ground the plane. So talk about some of, do you have an incident that comes to mind that might have even been scary for you guys? Because even in emergency landings, whether it's an equipment problem or something on board is happening that's making them ground the plane, flight attendants always seem to keep their cool. So tell me about an incident that might have been a little scary for you.
Yes, and let me clarify. There are two separate things. A diversion because of an emergency, a medical emergency on board, and then there's also an emergency landing.
Okay.
An emergency landing could be something's wrong with the landing equipment or the hydraulics, something like that, to where we may not end up upright once we get to the ground for some possible reason. Equipment has failed. That is an emergency landing. At that point, we know we may need slides, to evacuate the aircraft.
Cavalier Lover, that would be awful if the engine blew up off takeoff. That would be, I don't think you're going anywhere.
That can happen. Some engines shut down. They stop working. That will constitute at times an emergency landing. Okay, so, but your question was...
something that might have scared you.
Oh, that constitute an emergency landing.
Oh, that's awful. You had a big fire. I had a fire on a plane too, and one of the engines when we were taking off. And I was in a foreign company. I was in a foreign country, and they said because the fuel was different, that the plane
wasn't built for that.
Wasn't built for that, and then we saw
grade.
fire, and then somebody called fire on the airplane, so everybody started crazy. And the flight and the flight attendant said, "Sit down, everybody, sit down." Okay, so it's something that might have scared you.
Wow.
It's okay.
Thanks to the grace of God, I have not had any emergency scares as far as emergency landings. Sometimes fire comes out of the engine. It's just on takeoff. It's just burning off fuel. It's nothing dangerous about it. That what she was talking about is something else. That is an emergency. I've had medical emergencies on the plane, and I think we did have to get diverted to get to the closest hospital as quickly as possible to get that person medical attention. Beyond us, equipment that we don't have on the aircraft. So I can't say nothing. There's not been anything that scared me.
Well, thank you.
We've been prepared.
Right.
We've been prepared for these things. So we stabilized them until we're on the ground.
Another fun thing is obnoxious passengers. Do you have a story in particular about an obnoxious passenger?
Wow. Yes.
Often?
Well, sometimes intoxicated passengers slip through the gate, and the gate agent slipped by them, and they're not. It's not evident that they're intoxicated.
So talk about the rules with that, because
that's great.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not know it is illegal for an airline employee to allow any passenger to board an aircraft or to come down the jet bridge intoxicated, with the appearance of being intoxicated. even if the appearance of, because we don't know, we're not drug testing you, but if you have the appearance of it, a variety of things, we can smell it. You're maybe slurring your words, you're stumbling, you can't keep your balance, you're speaking as if, you've had one too many. We're not allowed legally by federal law to allow you on board, and you really should not have even been allowed down the jetway. So it's not a flight attendant being funky or treating you nasty.
Right. And so then you were going to say about
obnoxious experience.
Yeah, or somebody that was intoxicated.
Yes. I ended up with a passenger in my business class that, I'm taking orders before we leave the ground. And I asked if she would like a beverage, and she said, yes, I would like a Chardonnay. I said, okay, no problem. I go, I find out we're still in the process of being catered, and I don't have any. So I go back, you know what, I'm out of Chardonnay right now. Mm-hmm. Can I get you anything else? And she's traveling with a well-known retired athlete, okay? Well-known retired
Is this
OJ athlete.
Is that sir?
Hertz athlete.
Oh, okay.
Running through the airport.
Oh, you can say who it is.
I don't know. I don't want to put people out there like that.
So that's what we're here for.
But his girlfriend
he's
is
in
the
jail.
one. You
should get that. It was O.J. Simpson's girlfriend. I'm saying it. O.J. Simpson's girlfriend.
Because he was super sweet. He was super nice and sweet. They were leaving a game, Buffalo Bills game. And she, like 3 times, I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, we're all out. Can I offer you something else? No, I'll just take a Chardonnay. I said, okay, but you remember I'm all out right now. Can I get you something else in the meantime? No, I'll just take a Chardonnay. At this point, I'm a little confused.
Right.
And I look at him and I say, sir, at this time we do not have Chardonnay. Because she was not comprehending what I was saying. And
did she speak English? I'm just kidding.
She did speak English. And so at that point, when I addressed him, he turned to her. This is after the trial and all of that.
The first trial, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The first trial, yes. And he turned her, look, woman, she said she doesn't have Chardonnay. What else do you want? He didn't hit her, but he just raised his hand, frustrated, like, what's wrong with you? So at that point, she's like, okay, I'll take a beer. And I leave, and I'm in the galley gathering these items, and the coworker of mine is like, oh my gosh, she's going to get all of us stabbed. He's about to get upset.
Oh, no, you can't make that joke. That's hilarious.
But that's what she said, so that was hilarious to me. Like, stop it.
She's going to get us all stabbed right here on the plane, right, and take a Hertz away. Oh, well, thank you, Tiffany, for joining us on Travel Scope Travel Tuesday with some of your insight. That's just a little teaser. We're going to chat with Tiffany a little more, and you can find more of that content on Daily-Affair. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there is travel content starting next week, actually. So you'll find travel videos, travel tips, and more on daily-affair.com. You can follow me on all social media at Davy Sutton. And if you don't follow me here on Periscope, swipe to the right if you have an iPhone, or swipe down, and you can subscribe or follow. But thank you, and until next week's Travel Scope, travel safely. Bye!